Good afternoon, almost evening. There on the Nature Coast, I'm Pastor Chad, pastor at the Table Church here in San Benito, Texas. Brother of Brad, which is one of the reasons why I show up here from time to time. Hope you're having a great Thursday and hope you're having a good week. We're talking about stewardship at the table during the summer. And one of my all-time favorite verses is in the context of stewardship, and it shows up in a really odd place, but I think it happens to be one of the most understated verses in all of the Bible. In fact, we run right through it, we run right past it, and we're not really, it's almost like an afterthought. We're not even thinking about this by the time we get to this part of the story. It's a story that Jesus tells in Luke's biography, Luke chapter 15. And Luke, by the way, is one of my favorite books. Jesus is having a conversation with people that don't like him very much. And he's also having a conversation with the crowd. He tells a series of parables or stories that are meant to illustrate the kingdom of God and how the kingdom of God works. He's got the lost coin and the lost sheep, and now he's talking about the lost son. And the whole thing ends. It's the parable of the prodigal son. And we all know how this goes. If you've been in church a while, you know that Jesus tells a story, and there's a father who has two sons. The one son goes to him and says, "Dad, you know what? I'm not interested in waiting for you to kick the bucket before you give me your inheritance. I want it all now." Dad gives him whatever the inheritance is, and he goes off. And as the story, Jesus is telling a story, this younger son goes and he spends it all on wild living. That's all he says. The brother has an interesting take on this, which was fascinating. The other brother, he spends it all. He ends up broke. He ends up thinking, "Hey, I need to get back to Dad. I'm just gonna throw myself at my feet. Just take me back. Just make me one of your servants, and let's just take me back in." So the dad runs, the great part of the story. Dad runs to meet him. Dad throws a party, and all the language about the party, whether it's the fatted calf, it's the ring, it's the robe, everything says, "You're a son. And I'm giving you all the symbols of not just what it means to be a son, but inheritance even." Oh yeah, he spent his inheritance, whatever amount that was, whatever it was. But you still get the ring, you still get the robe, you still get all the symbols. Older brother's not happy about the party, and he starts chirping. And then there's conversation. Dad says, "Look, why are you upset? What are you upset about?" It says the older son became angry. He didn't want to go into the party. And Dad finds him and is like, "Hey, let's party. Your brother's back." This son, though, says, "Look, I've been here the whole time. I never got a party." In fact, he puts it this way: "I have been slaving many years for you." Oh, boy. Okay, there's attitude right there. That's putting the worst possible spin on this. In fact, it's the younger son says, "I want to go back and be a slave." Here's the older brother saying, "I've been slaving all these years." Makes you wonder, again, if Jesus even has a real life situation in mind, whether or not that real brother had actually been slaving or not. "But I did all this for you, and you never gave me a party to celebrate with my friends." But when this younger son comes on, and then he says, "The one who's been with prostitutes." Okay. The first statement was the dude was in wild living, and you're free to put whatever wild living is, that little statement. But then Jesus said, the older brother says, "He spent this all on prostitutes." We don't know that to be true. Probably might be an exaggeration. Don't know. Might be the truth. Don't know. But again, worst possible spin on everything. Then the father says this. This is the statement that we run right by, that we forget, that it goes right through us because we're too focused. Number one, the great story of the younger brother, the prodigal son that comes home. Then the older brother, the evil stepmother villain in the story, the older brother, we focus on him and what's going on with him. The father says this, "Son," he says to the older brother, You are always with me. And then he says this, everything I have is yours. Now we go running right through that last statement as if that's just a nice way of Dad saying, look, everything's going to be okay. Now think about this. Everything I have is yours. You're my son. Everything I have is yours. And what's interesting is we've just been given a picture of a younger son who went and spent everything. He's been given a robe. He's been given a ring. And then he's been given the fatted calf, which in those days is a symbol of great wealth and inheritance. Everything I have is yours. He's not just talking about the older son. He's talking about both sons. Neither son knows it. The one thinks it's all material stuff. He spends it all. The other one's also thinking material, by the way. Everything I have is yours. Did you wake up this morning thinking that everything that Jesus has, everything that he's a steward over, everything that he owns, everything that he's about is yours? Have you lived life today that way, as if everything that Jesus has is yours? That's grace. We don't deserve it. At any given moment, we're either the younger son, we're off doing whatever, or we're the older son in a bunch of self-righteousness. We're either son all of the time. Everything I have is yours. That's who Jesus is for you and for me. That's our Rhythms of Grace for this Thursday. I hope you're having a great Thursday. Hope you're going to have a great weekend. Hope you have a great Sunday being together with Jesus around his word and his sacrament. That's our Rhythms of Grace for today. Remember this, and it's part of this story. The one who's saying that everything I have is yours, he absolutely, unstoppably, and unconditionally loves you. He's always holding you. He always,